Hello and welcome to another planning appeal case study video. I'm John Peters, and in this video I'm going to explain how we overcame a recent refusal by Central Bedfordshire Council for one of our clients. This planning appeal was to overcome the refusal for a single and two-storey side and rear extensions that were refused by the local authority Central Bedfordshire Planning Department. Our client was initially booked in for a free, no obligation consultation to run through the refusal reasons that had been used by Central Bedfordshire Council and to evaluate if an appeal was viable or if an alternative option would be best suited for them. The free, no obligation consultation, which we completed, was found that it was viable to appeal to the Planning Inspectorate, taking the decision process away from Central Bedfordshire Council's Planning Department. This case was refused by Central Bedfordshire Council for the following reasons. The proposed rear extension will appear as an overly large addition to the house by reason of its size, siting design and overall bulk. That would appear overly dominant and not as subservient addition to the main property. In addition, the proposed design detailing is considered to detract from the character and appearance of the existing property. The rear extension will, by reason of its excessive depth, overall bulk and height, appear as being out of keeping with the rural edge of the group of development along this side of the road. The development will appear as visually intrusive from longer views from the west side of the site. The planning inspector in this case identified the main reasons for the case were the impact of the proposal upon the character and appearance of the host dwelling and the locality. The inspector stated the following in the appeal decision. The host dwelling benefits from a number of smaller rear extensions which have a total depth existing in the region of approximately 6.1 metres. I do not find that, as these stand, they contribute positively to the character of the appearance of the host dwelling, resulting in an ad hoc and poor quality of additionals to the rear elevation. The proposal seeks to erect a single and two-storey side and rear extension with the existing two-storey lean-to and two single-storey projections to the rear being demolished as part of the proposals. At the rear, a part two-storey, part single-storey extension will be built with a total depth in the region of 8 metres, with the single-storey element extending across the full width of the rear of the dwelling, with a mono-pitched roof, and would also wrap partially around the side elevation. I find that the proposal does not cause harm to the living conditions and the amenity of the neighbours, and that considering the objectives of the design guide, the proposal is not a poorly designed alteration or extension which could be said to cause harm to the character and appearance of the area. The proposal would have a limited impact upon the wider area, and in this case I find that the context is appropriately considered as the character of the street within the proposal would stand. The additions in this case, although large, taking into account the host dwelling itself, would relate well to the character and context of the surrounding area. As you can tell from the inspector's report, the inspectors visited the site in order to make the decision, something that is absolutely necessary to determine a case like this. Many of you who have similar refusals are repeatedly stating to us you had little or no correspondence throughout the application process, and the first thing you knew was receiving the refusal from the council, and in some cases when you received a letter from ourselves. We completely understand that the planning process can be very frustrating, the costs involved, the time it takes and so on, but do remember we deal with this on a daily basis for others just like yourself. With planning appeals, experience matters. Our specialist appeals team, who handle over 2.5% of all planning appeals in England and Wales that are currently produced and submitted, start by producing a comprehensive and robust appeal statement that, in this specific case, covered 20 pages, was just over 4,800 words. It's important to detail in the appeal statement where the local authority failed in their assessment of the case, and how, where possible, both local and national policy applies in favour of appeal. Additionally, if possible, bringing in similar cases that the planning inspectors found in favour of at appeal. Obviously, with the back catalogue we have of wins, we're able to use these cases and what the inspector said in them as an additional argument to support the case we're working on. Once an appeal statement is completed, we send the document to our client, asking them to check that they're happy for us to submit the case. If we need to add any additional information that the client may have forgotten previously to do so, it's done at this point and the case is then submitted. It's vitally important that all the documents and responses are submitted on time throughout the process, as failure to do so will result in an appeal not being successful, something we do hear about often when people attempt an appeal for the first time. Always ensure you use a professional who has considerable experience of appeals. It is worth asking them for some recent successful planning appeal case studies like you'll find on our website. Due to the large number of cases we represent, we have a dedicated team that liaises with the Planning Inspectorate on a daily basis. For this appeal, an independent planning inspector from the Planning Inspectorate visited the site on the 9th of January, and we're pleased to confirm that the appeal was upheld and the permission granted on the 15th of January in a 4-page appeal decision notice. If you'd like to find out if we can help you with your planning appeal, complete our online form on our website, www.planningappealsuk.com, and our new case support team will arrange for a free, no obligation consultation with one of our planning appeal assessment professionals. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It's really appreciated. I look forward to producing another one very soon.